CBS 60 Minutes put out pure propaganda when it comes to President Donald J. Trump's cabinet picks. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about CBS 60 Minutes putting out pure propaganda when it comes to President Donald J. Trump's cabinet picks thus far. Now, before we even get into it, I just want to say a couple of things. First, I'm not surprised. Are any of you surprised? The mainstream media has a playbook that they're sticking to. Now, I don't think it worked, obviously, because the orange man won. The orange man's back in business. It doesn't matter how much lawfare and propaganda, fake information, fake news. It doesn't matter how much money they spent. Listen, what's the total now? What's the tally that Kamala's quote unquote campaign spent in 100 days? Was it 1.4 billion? At least $1 billion. And they're at least $20 million in the hole. Trump's campaign had less than 400 million. I think, what, 375 million? And they won. Kamala's campaign was no more than a grift. It was a way for celebrities and special interests to get paid to get their needs met in that moment. But it didn't have anything to do with trying to actually win the election, in my humble opinion. It was a big, crazy grift. And the media was in on it. The media did not learn their lesson from getting stomped into the finest of wines during this election. They want to keep going with this same strategy. Is it going to end positively next time? I don't think so. Now, before I go any further, let's get to the actual news clip here. I will link to the entire thing in the box if you want to hear it, read it, see it without my commentary. There's more clips as well we're going to get to, but everything will be in the box. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
This past week, Republicans won the House majority, and President-elect Trump made nominations to his cabinet.
Now, I got to pause it at certain points because they want to do copyrights.
Some nominees appear to have no compelling qualifications other than loyalty to Trump. The nominees are Senator Marco Rubio for Secretary of State.
So I guess he's saying some. Now, what qualifications must you have to be put on the cabinet, to work for the federal government? What are the qualifications? He's not going to say Marco is unqualified because he's already a politician, but someone who comes from the regular space, just the general public, they may say that they're unqualified because they don't have the previous political experience. Sometimes you don't need to get someone from the quote unquote swamp to work in government. Sometimes it's best you don't because they have a fresh and clear perspective. Let's keep going.
Pete Hegseth to lead the 3 million people of the Department of Defense. He's a combat veteran, most recently a morning show host on Fox News with no government experience.
Why does it matter? Combat veteran, been in Iraq, Afghanistan, very smart, understands geopolitics. Why does it matter that he doesn't have government experience? President Trump had no prior government experience, and he got elected not once but twice, and he's one of the best presidents ever. People like Ronald Reagan, Hollywood actor. Just because you have no government experience prior to becoming part of the government does not mean that you're going to do a bad job.
Former Congressman Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, in charge of law enforcement. Gaetz has been investigated by Republicans for alleged drug use and sex with a minor. Gaetz denies those allegations.
Now, as far as the whole Matt Gaetz thing and the sex with a minor, that whole thing is not going to go anywhere because this has already been in the news. Somebody got locked up behind that, but Matt Gaetz did not. So you're not going to go retroactively try to lock him up and investigate. It's already been done. It's already over with. Whether he did it or not, that's a matter of someone's opinion. But what's not opinion is that he did not get locked up for this.
Former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence. She sought a pardon for Edward Snowden, who leaked U.S. secrets and now lives in Russia.
So are we going to say Tulsi Gabbard's unqualified? She's been in the government for quite a while, and a lot of you guys on the left, y'all like Tulsi Gabbard. Is she unqualified? Oh, but because she was trying to get a pardon for Snowden, that makes her somehow bad. You see the propaganda on this piece.
And Robert Kennedy Jr., for Secretary of Health and Human Services, a skeptic of vaccinations.
Okay, that's a good thing. You should be skeptical of vaccinations. I mean, the babies get so many vaccines nowadays. It's ridiculous. It's many more than when I was a child. And the question is, why do we need so many vaccinations for children, for people in general? And also, he's more than just a so-called vaccine critic. He's also critical of the food we consume in this country, because to be totally honest, that's going to be a lot of where cancer and other kind of problems come from, is the food that we eat. The things that we put on and inside of our body is causing the overwhelming majority of our problems health-wise. And he is trying to speak out against that and get us going in the right direction. What's wrong with that?
It's up to the new Republican majority in the Senate to decide whether these nominees are equipped to represent the American people.
What he means by that is the Senate has to confirm the nominations. You see how they do? Why you can't just say it's up to the Senate to confirm? Like, President Trump can nominate or announce some things he can do without having a Senate confirmation. I think DOGE, the new agency with Vivek and Elon, that does not go through Senate confirmation. And why didn't they talk about Vivek and Elon? Are you going to say Elon Musk is unqualified to be in government? One of the smartest guys in this entire world. Vivek also very, very, very smart. Good in business. Same thing, JD Vance. Let's go to Mika and Joe and see what they got to say about the whole situation with Trump and the incoming administration. Check it out.
This week, Joe and I have heard from so many people, from political leaders to regular citizens, deeply dismayed by several of President-elect Trump's cabinet selections, and they are scared. Last Thursday, we expressed our own concerns on this broadcast and even said we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself. On Friday, we were given the opportunity.
Pause for the fair use, of course, because MS-13 DNC may be similar to CBS.
To do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of it.
Wow, that's interesting. So why did they go to Mar-a-Lago? Like, why? And I'm sure that they've had other opportunities to go. Maybe they've been invited places. Maybe, you know, somebody tried to get in between them and broker a conversation, a phone call. Why are you just now going after not speaking to him for 7 years? What's going on here, Mika and Joe?
Issues including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications.
Okay, so how does that really work? Restarting communication. Are you guys going to speak to Trump and administration and report what you are told honestly, or is it going to be something else? Like, let's get down to the bottom of that, shall we?
My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States profoundly disagreed. That's a task shared by reporters and commentators alike. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020, other than a personal call Joe made to Trump
7 years ago, 2020, 2024, so 4 years ago.
On the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful, he was upbeat, he seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times.
Great question. Why would you go speak to him?
Especially between us. I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we? 5 years of political warfare has deeply divided Washington and the country. We have been as clear as we know how in expressing our deep concerns about President Trump's actions and words in the coarsening of public debate.
You know what's the actual problem is not what Trump says, it's what you guys say on the mainstream media. Mika, Joe, MS13, DNC, CNN, CBS, ABC, all the alphabet letter outlets on television, even Fox to a certain extent, but not really them. It's the rest of the mainstream media that is the problem. You guys drive people crazy. They're watching the news. It's all this negative rhetoric. Trump derangement syndrome is real. People are depressed right now all over the country. And there's large swaths of the population that are just depressed because you guys did that to them. So you're talking about what Trump says and his rhetoric is dangerous, all this, that, and the third, but you guys don't do any introspection. Y'all think you're doing the right thing, but really you're doing the wrong thing by the American people. You guys are harming more than helping. And I hope that Trump told y'all that in the meeting, because if you've not heard it before, you need to hear it right now.
But for nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues that moved them to send Donald Trump back to the White House with their vote. Joe and I realize it's time to do something different.
Do something else, because the strategy you had is not working. Nobody cares about January 6th. We don't care about that. We care about the economy, trying to put food on the table, trying to be able to pay rent, pay mortgage, and not even that, trying to actually find some housing. That's the most important thing. Dealing with these migrants, the illegal aliens, and the criminality that they bring. And our taxpayer money is going to fund them while we get nothing. They get thousands upon thousands of dollars in their pocket while being here illegally, breaking the law. We lose everything in the hurricane in North Carolina and get $700 if we can apply and if we get approved, which you probably won't. And a one-time payment for a household. One-time $700 payment for an entire household, but migrants get thousands upon thousands every single month.
And that starts with not only talking about Donald Trump, but also talking with him.
All righty, so there we have it, Mika and Joe. And you see what the mainstream media does. You see what they do. I hope that they realize that the strategy that they had the entire time Trump was the president and after, I hope they realize it doesn't work and they go a different direction. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to you guys who realize that the mainstream media sucks, it's bad, it's terrible. Maybe the mainstream media will figure that out one day and they'll change their ways. You kind of saw something like that right there with Mika and Joe, but I'm not quite sure they will, because they've radicalized our audience so much that they go back the other direction. It may backfire on them, and the ratings boost and bump that they wanted from having all this negative Trump coverage is going to evaporate right before their eyes. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what Scott Pelley said of CBS 60 Minutes? How about Mika and Joe? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This just proves what I've been saying the whole time, that the mainstream media is full of propaganda. It's lies. You can't believe it. And I even say, don't even believe me, though. At this point, you have to do your own research. Do your own research. The mainstream media will lie to you. They've proven it over and over again. They cannot be trusted. And by the time they try to correct course and get things back on the right track, it might be way too late. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.